continued to read. And he continued to read, and it went on to say, Baptists have raised $5,000 to send to refugees in Western Sudan.
Wow.
I'm not going to get into a big discussion of benevolence. We'll have to talk about that at some point. That's not the point. The point is $23 million for us. $5,000 for 350,000 refugees in Western Sudan who are dying of malnutrition. And $23 million? You know what? I'm kind of like this. You know, I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure this was true, so I did a little bit of research. I just put in church, millions. I don't know, I might have put in Baptist or something like that. The first story that popped up caught my attention because it mentioned First Baptist Dallas. I lived in Dallas for 5 years, and I've been in the building a few times, but never really attended it. But it caught my attention. The article was from 2010, and it talked about how the 3,200 member congregation had pledged over the next 3 years $115 million for their new facility. You know, if I hadn't been reading Haggai, maybe that wouldn't have hit me so hard. maybe Haggai, maybe I just would have been going about happily on my day, ignorant and bliss and happy, and that wouldn't have bothered me so much.
No, it still would have bothered.
But it made $23 million look like chump change when you're talking $115 million.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but agree with this author, even having done my own research, that I think our priorities are just way off. And you know what we want to say? We want to say, oh, the Sudanese. There's always going to be problems there in the Sudan. You're going to send money over there, the fat cats are going to get it. It's not going to go to the people who need it. We're not going to fix this problem. All those things may be true. But at what point are they just pure excuses for not helping those who are in legitimate, dire need? I really thought I could farther this first hour, but I'm really shocked by this question. Is it time for you yourselves to dwell in your paneled houses while this house lies desolate? And I think that's the question we need to ask ourselves individually, as a family, as a little church here. What are we doing that is minimizing God's priorities? What priorities that God has given to us, that God has assigned to us, either Big C, American Christianity, global church, or GABC? What does God want us to be doing that we're not putting as our top priority? Okay, we're moving forward. It's been a tough year for you and for me. But that's behind us. We're moving forward. What do we need to put at the top of that list of priorities for us to be accomplishing, for us to be striving for? And then when we do that, when we remember that those things are only going to be accomplished by the Lord of hosts working through us, not by us and our fantastic, wonderful abilities. It's ultimately going to be done by willing people doing what the Lord of hosts want them to be doing by putting His priorities above our own. We have a deacons meeting coming up this Saturday. I just encourage you to pray for that. That we would be, I don't have anything in mind really. I want to make sure we're putting God's priorities first. There's all kinds of little administrative stuff we need to worry about. But those shouldn't be excuses to not be putting God's priorities above our own. To be not putting God's priorities above our own. God's ways must be put first. I want to encourage you to ask not just what is not being put first, but why are you not putting God's priorities first? What is the excuse? And I don't think, I think in a way Haggai is kind of teasing the people with this thing about, oh, you say you don't have the time. well, you obviously have the time to build your house. But to them, that time issue was a legitimate excuse. That was what they were using. And God had inspired Haggai to say, no, that's not a legitimate excuse. So I'm going to turn the question back on you as I've thought about it for myself this week. What excuses do we make for not doing what God wants us to do? And are those excuses as legitimate as we tend to think they are? And if Haggai 1 is any template about our excuses, I suspect that our excuses are not that valid. Ask why we are not putting God's ways first. You know what, and I just want to mention one other thing, and then I think we're going to have to shut down here, and then we'll pick up. Verse 5 is fantastic. I could spend all next hour just talking about verse 5, what he's saying here. But just remember, God isn't out to ruin our fun. He's not out to say, I don't want you people to be happy. If I'm miserable, I'm going to make you miserable too. That's not the point. He's not saying you can't have nice things. He's saying sometimes our priorities are so out of whack, $23 million versus $5,000, our priorities are so evident, demonstrably out of whack, that we need to kind of get slapped upside the head and readjust our priorities and make sure that we are putting God first. And you know what? He knows that we will be most satisfied in our own existence when we are putting Him first and glorifying Him above all. Because you know what? That's why we were created. We are created to serve Him, to honor Him, to glorify Him. And when we are doing that, we will find the most satisfaction in our life. Maybe not the most fun, maybe it's not going to be the most delightful thing, but we will find the most joy and satisfaction in our lives when we are putting God first and glorifying Him above all else. We'll pick up with verse 5 next hour, and let's go ahead and turn in our hymnals. And we talked about this yesterday. I think it does all come back to this. Take time to be holy, page 329. It all comes back to, let's make sure we are taking time to be holy above being happy. Taking time to be holy above making ourselves top link on the chain. We're going to sing Take Time to Be Holy, page 329. We're just going to sing the first and fourth verse. Page 329. Here we go. Take time to be holy, speak out with the Lord, abide in Him always, and feed on His word. Make friends with God's children, help those who are weak, forgetting in nothing His blessings to see. Verse 4. Take time to be holy, be calm in the soul. Each thought and each motive beneath His control. Thus led by His Spirit to fountains of love, thou soon be fitted for service above. Lord, give us the sense, the wisdom to put your priorities above our own, to take time to be holy, to serve you, to put you first. This is not something we can do on our own. We desperately need the power of the Lord of hosts, His sovereign, your sovereign majesty, to enable us to do that. We pray that you would do that. Give us the strength and the might to put you first. In Jesus' name, amen.